Hello everyone, this is Strawberry Shorty, back with our second playthrough of The Letter. So, we're doing the chaos run where we pick all the bad choices and get everybody killed, or we're trying to get everybody killed. I ended up looking a bit into things, and I did learn that after the credits, there's, in some cases, a stinger, but if you skip the credits, you don't see it. And I don't think there's anything we can do about that, unfortunately. So, that sucks. That's a bad choice. We're already down with Luke, and we didn't even do nothing. So, right now, we're Hana, and we're at a party. And Chief Inspector Priest here is flirting with us and is creepy. Now it's morning, and we're all happy. I'm gonna remain silent, because he's trying to go off to a drinking thing. We're supposed to be doing an open house, so I'm gonna remain silent, because that's the bad choice. I am happy. See, he doesn't like that. He wants us to stand up for ourselves. And I'm sure he will be too, once he gets over this little upset. There's no point in aggravating him anymore, so I keep myself from commenting on the issue any further. A sweet smile and a bowed head, no need to provoke. This is how I cope.
So, when do we leave? Where are we even going?
We're scheduled to leave after lunch for the Ermengarde Mansion. Das ist ja interessant. It's just Deutsch name. Is that infamous mansion? Yeah? I have seen it from afar. It's a huge property. Very beautiful if it wasn't left abandoned. Certainly a house befitting lords and ladies of the land.
A house good enough for nobles, huh? It is well known then? I guess that doesn't make it a total waste of time.
Our old sous chef mentioned going there for Halloween last year. We've not seen him since. Not that I mind. He made terrible pumpkin soup.
I smile even as they turn their backs to me. At the mansion, open house. We hate Isabel in this timeline because she showed us a letter, and I guess that made Luke be nicer to her, so now we hate everything. What's been bugging my mind, however, is that Isabel. What is her problem? I still don't quite understand what is happening. One moment she's scrambling to give us the paperwork to finalize the sale, then she's panning over some sort of prank letter or another. The second thing on my mind is how touchy my darling husband is being towards the poor dear. I cannot even plaster a smile on my face, a horrid scowl taking its place. I mean, all he actually did is put a hand on her shoulder when she's having a freak out. Like, don't get me wrong, Luke is an adulterer, but I think this is a bit of an overreaction. There is no way I can pretend nothing is wrong as I hum.
And I'm sure little Lily here would certainly appreciate it if you remove your pretty hands from her, darling.
He's quick enough to detract his hand, which is all that girl needs to, well, for lack of a better word, escape.
I think I need to step out for a while. I'll be back.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we got Isabel killed. Our partner follows, shouting after her without hesitation. There is an awkward air among us as we are left in the wake of whatever that was. The others murmur and gossip with each other, speaking of the poor daft girl and telling the tale to whoever was not audience to the act in the first place. This should be stuff we've seen already. I don't know why it's doing it too. So she's pulling us in there to apologize, but the woman refuses, saying this is not her clients anyway. Liz, myself, Rose, and Luke. Last all too eager to make himself comfortable in a study he's no doubt already claimed as his own.
I can't apologize enough about what just happened. Please forgive Isabella. She's been under a lot of pressure lately. She's young, and all those rumors about this being haunted just got to her head. And it must be this terrible heat, too. Not a drop of rain for days now.
Oh, it's fine. The poor girl must feel so embarrassed about what she just did. But I say, let bygones be bygones. After all, she's only a child.
It's kind of shocking just how different Hana seems with that one little choice.
She looked, what, 19?
I shoot Luke an accusing look at these words. I mean, 19 is not illegal, I don't think. After all, he tried flirting with the girl. I really don't think that was flirting. The nerve of him. Not only that Isabel girl, but also Marianne and Rose, too. What kind of husband would think that it's even a remotely good idea to make moves on 3 different women while his wife stands there? Did he drink while I wasn't looking?
She's a bit older than that. But again, I apologize. And if there's any way I can make up for what just happened...
I know what you can do. Be a darling flower and get us one of those bottles you plan to serve. Pop it open.
We were planning on serving some champagne. I can get that.
That would be lovely. Much obliged.
Do you want a glass as well, Ms. Wright?
Oh no, I'm fine. I really shouldn't be drinking right now.
And Luke should be either. Hit him with a book. But right now, I'm just too tired for any sort of argument. I don't have the heart to scold him in public as well. I'm certainly not his mother. I just want to get this horror day done with, go home and sleep. Perhaps I'll even have a strong cuppa before I head off to bed. Yes, that sounds nice. When Rose comes back with the champagne, I beckon her over. As I've told her partner before, I have every intent of acquiring this house. I might as well, even if I'm having second thoughts about getting it for Luke. When we, the Wrights, had expressed interest in this place, we've had eyes set on us. If we don't buy it, that might as well be a signal to the busybodies to gossip over how we may or may not have lost our fortune. Regardless of the fact that it is false, image is everything when dealing with these people. These are the unspoken rules for people such as ourselves, and besides, I really did like the place. Why, everything here is absolutely wonderful. Well, except for that ugly painting in the study. It looks like a bad fake of an Edward Munch painting.
Here's the deal. I'm willing to pay 10% higher than your listing price.
See if we can skip it. Yeah, we can skip. It talks about the painting, but there's no painting. It's actually just a mirror, so we saw the ghost. So we'll question up the need for a meeting because we want Marianne to hate us. This isn't the first estate we've acquired, of course. We've bought plenty of others, from penthouses in Luxmore to vacation and townhouses in nearby cities. It is, however, the first time that an interior designer has asked for a meeting with me. Normally I just let them do as they please and hope for the best. I found that they rather liked the creative freedom it lent them. They all bragged about it. Hannah Wright is living in a house I designed.
I can make time, but I'm sure you're more than capable enough to work on your own, yes? Surely I would just get in the way and you can do things faster and more efficiently without my input. Because, no offense, if you're one of those workers who need constant supervision and hand-holding, you might as well tell me now so that I can look for another interior designer to work with.
Surely this one will feel the same.
Yes, I am capable of working without any design input and without supervision, Mrs. Wright.
But it'd be entirely different if I know what you two would want for this home, how each room is meant to be used. You have to consider what sort of colour palette you would want at the very least. Do consider that this will be your home and not mine.
She puts anime posters everywhere. None of those houses ever did feel like a home.
You won't give me a choice in the matter, will you?
What? No. You do have a choice, and...
No. You've clearly made up your mind that we must meet.
We have made her so mean.
All right. Monday. 10 o'clock sharp. We'll see you then.
Actually, Marianne suggested that we meet at 9, but who was even awake at that ungodly hour? I was lucky enough to wake up this morning before Luke went all the way to Cardiff.
So, you really want to buy this place then? That's a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you.
Some of this is familiar dialogue.
Not that I'm complaining.
Well, I'm glad you're not complaining like you usually do. It's a right and proper Christmas miracle, isn't it? Hannah has finally done something right.
I refuse to look at him, staring at the passing scenery instead.
Hey, Buttercup, what's with this cheek?
Rose, Lily, Mint. The nerve, Luke, the nerve!
Is that what this is about? 1, that woman's name was Rose, and 2, you know I don't mean a word of that empty flirting.
And it's still the principle of things, Luke.
I mean, I think Hannah in general is being terrible in this version of events, but, I mean, she definitely should be mad about Luke flirting with other women. I still don't think some of that was flirting, but...
I understand if you try to woo them to get what you want when it seems that I'm not looking, but I told you once before not to do it when I'm there.
Luke dealt with other women in the past to get what he wanted. Sometimes I have my doubts. I really want to believe that I am an exception, that he's not just using me like how he used those other girls. I'm having a hard time believing that now. And it isn't just the shameless flirting. There's something about that Marianne woman, as if Luke's familiar with her. As much as it shames me, it makes jealousy rear its ugly head. I am, suffice it to say, ticked off.
Really? I forfeit my trip to Cardiff for this, and you're still not happy.
Oh, trust me, Luke. I am very happy. Very happy that, for once, we are doing something that I want. Can you not see the smile on my face?
It is only when I let loose those words that the truth hits me like a slap on the face. And by the looks of it, it seems to have the same effect on my dear, darling husband. It has always been, Luke wants to do this, and Luke wants to do that, hasn't it? I don't even remember the last trip we went to, which was of my own choosing, without needing to get the man's approval. On the other hand, I was put along to every single expedition he wished to tackle, and I never objected. The rest of the ride home is spent ignoring each other, pretending the other didn't exist. Arriving at our penthouse, my first order of business is to get into bed. I get a hot bath and forget the tea. I just want to bury myself in blankets and forget everything in my slumber. It seems that Luke has the same idea in mind as he tags along behind me. This is something I will not allow the moment I pass through the door.
Out.
What the bloody hell, woman? This is my bedroom too!
Luke stands flabbergasted as I am entering into our chambers. His pillows lie on the cold tiled floors away from the warmth of our soft down bed, and my gaze promises him the same fate if he does not budge on this matter.
Don't even try to argue, because I am very cross with you, Luke Wright.
Is her little band here the wrong color? Shouldn't it be darker?
You can take the second bedroom or the guest room if you wish, but I do not want to see you at all for the rest of the night.
You know this is supposed to be like 3 floors? Where are they all at? There's just like 1 door up here.
Johans!
Our butler wonders over, a curious expression on his face. He doesn't quite hurry, moving at a relaxed pace no matter how angry his master sounded.
No, you are not allowed to sleep in my room, sir.
That's not what I mean! Help me talk some sense into her!
There is no sense in questioning her right to be angry, sir. So, if I might be excused, I'll go prepare the second bedroom for you.
You know, even if you tried to kill me in another timeline, Johannes, I still like you. Also, you're being threatened. I have to keep a straight face as he stomps away in defeat.
Mutiny! This is mutiny! The system is being upturned, and the people are rioting, and everything is left asunder!
He's such a terrible person, but he's really funny most of the time. It isn't every day that Luke is rendered speechless by someone he considers inferior, or to yield to another authority without an ulterior motive. I don't think he really considers her inferior normally, though. His pride just won't allow it. I do keep telling the men to treat his people better. He may throw whatever fit he wants, but he will not be getting his way tonight. I wonder if he's actually talking about Johannes. That might make sense. Victorious, I celebrate by jumping face first into our bed. Undignified, yes, but nobody is here to judge me anyway. Right? Nobody is here to tell me what to do. Yet as I succumb to sleep, I can hear them whisper to me. I can hear them whispering, help me. Calling for me. They want me. Need me. They drown me, pulling me down and suffocate me in their embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting it foreboding. They're calling to me from in there, aren't they? And I do want to help, I do. But when I try to reach out, something pulls me back, like a hook sinking itself into my stomach. And I break through the surface with a gasp. I still have no idea how she gets possessed. Like, was it because we opened the wine cellar? Alone in bed and without Luke to hug the covers, I'm swathed in cloth and thick, slick with sweat. It takes me a while to untangle myself and kick them all off. Both the bed and I are a right mess by the end of it all, but I'm more than eager to just get up and go out for some fresh air. Wednesday. Yeah, the days pass had gone by in a blur. We hadn't talked much, Luke and I, outside of necessity. See if we got anything new here. Ooh, look at us. Angry. During the open house, Hannah pressured the estate agents to sell her the mansion. The Wrights also met their interior designer, but displeased with her husband's flirtatious attitude, a disagreement brewed during the ride home. Inevitably, they ended up sleeping in different bedrooms that night. In fact, we've hardly talked beyond the topic of acquisitions and properties. Properties being the mansion, obviously. Everything has been so busy that I haven't talked to anyone outside of business, and it is just so stressing. So one can understand my need for a good chat, preferably over a good meal. There are times when any decent, emotionally healthy, and socially capable person needs a good friend. One who will talk to them without the conversation degrading or turning into an argument. Or borrowing a nearby friend, I have an interior designer under a confidentiality agreement to listen to me.
Hiya! Come on now!
The place is bustling with movers carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trucks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. I can hear Luke barking at them in the other room, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is hard to tune him out. The walls did not do a good job of muffling him at all. Yeah, that's like a real big problem with this place. They really need to soundproof. Maybe not completely soundproof, because there's some bad stuff going on, but then again, it is Luke. I would still hear him ranting even if we were on the opposite sides of the mansion and I'm wearing earplugs.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright, but I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
Nonsense! You arrived so early, you must not have gotten a proper meal. Our butler has made a surprisingly lovely bubble and squeak.
I don't know what that is.
Sit! I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now. Oh, Johans!
The man in question appears, ready with a tray as he starts to set the table for us. We sit in silence as we are each served a plate. Bubble and squeak, topped by a nicely poached egg, with cherry tomatoes and other garnishes adorning the edges of the plate. I'm looking at it, and I'm still not sure what it's supposed to be. A cup and saucer and a teapot with some Earl Grey is placed down for Marianne, and I ask for an orange Julius.
How are you liking the project?
Drop that vase and I'll have your head. I know it's only an 8 million yen vase, but I swear I'll...
Well,
It's certainly a fun challenge, incorporating the designs of a Jacobean manor and the functionality of a modern household.
I have ideas I would like to suggest, by the way, about what to use the second bedroom for. I have been informed of your goddaughter and thought a kid-friendly room might be in order.
Or do we not want kids in this timeline because we hate Luke?
You read my mind. I was actually going to bring that up. Oh, that would just be so lovely, Marianne. That way, Kylie can bring her friends over as well. And a good friend of mine, Rochelle, is expecting a baby. So, why don't we think about putting a crib in there too? I can just imagine little ones running around, filling this place with the pitter-patter of their feet.
I still think we never did learn if Luke was really the father of Rochelle's baby.
We'd have to make sure they don't trip and fall on the stairs, though.
We won't be able to finish everything up until after the party, but we'll have it ready by then, so that all we need to do is to move in the furnishings.
Yes, that's plenty fine. It's not like we're in a hurry to have it, and we wouldn't want the workers to disturb the guests or the other way around, do we? Just make sure it's presentable. You know, in case a guest snoops about.
Of course. As for the kitchen you wanted, I've already negotiated for the high-end stoves and the hot and cold drawers, so on and so forth. I've got a friend who was able to customize them so that they'll look like the counters we'll be replacing and fit the rest of the interior. They'll be bringing them in today.
Why can't you people do anything right? Don't drag it. You'll scratch the wood.
Excellent. But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too. It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale. Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box. Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
I didn't mean any insult.
It's fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg. Luke wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
She looks confused. I mean, it was us who pushed for this. Of course, she has every right to be. She, no doubt, overheard me push that estate agent into the sale, making quite the aggressive offer. She saw me sign the papers for the mansion as well. I just had to scoff.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
Actually, I think you could.
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
Well, this is an awkward situation, Hannah.
Yes. It wouldn't be appropriate to comment further. It is unprofessional.
Unprofessional?
I can't help but let out a deep sigh as I stick a fork into the dish. I didn't want professional. I want someone who will either agree with me, even if it's just for the sake of agreeing, or someone who will try to talk some sense into me. Will stop harassing some random stranger into talking with you. Neutral responses are so boring. There's no discourse in the middle ground.
The food is good. Best bubble and squeak.
Of course it is. Our kitchen staff only uses the freshest, hand-picked ingredients. Only the best for the rights.
Mr. Wright is not joining us?
No. He is far too busy bossing people around. He even refused to join me for breakfast earlier. Hence, this.
I see. My apologies. I really don't know what sort of response you expect to get from me.
There is a clatter of silverware as I slam my hands on the table. It is frustrating. I am frustrated. At Luke mostly, but Marianne's neutral professional answers are certainly irksome as well.
You're a human with feelings and opinions, aren't you? Don't give me this bollocks about being professional when we're having a nice friendly chat over a nice and friendly breakfast.
Nothing friendly about this.
I can only talk about interior designs for so long, and I detest one-sided conversations, Marianne.
But I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. We were talking of no topic in particular, and...
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
About him not eating breakfast with you?
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
I didn't realize that I shouted that out loud until it's too late. There's a stunned silence to settle before I slump back into my seat. Hiding my face behind my hands, I can feel my shoulders shake. Breathe, I told myself. Calm down. Actually, it says breath, but it is just so hard.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like he doesn't love me anymore. Oh, have I been so blind? Did he ever love me at all? Was our marriage all for the sake of saving his company and his wealth? Because?
Did I say all that loud? Again? No, this is bad. Unacceptable. It has been rumored before the real reason for our engagement, but if anyone were to know of this, marriage is a necessity to carry on political and financial power used to be a common thing, but the Evans-Wright union is the perfect happily ever after. Was supposed to be. It is true that we first met each other in order to discuss dealings, to make the then failing Wright Enterprise a subsidiary for Evans Incorporated. But I do remember being in love with him, and there were times when he said he loved me back, even if I'm not sure what the truth is now. Either way, I do not want the Wright name or the Evans name dragged through the mud because of a slip-up. And if Marianne so much as talked of this... If Marianne so much as talked about this, we will... We're gonna threaten her and make her hate us. Luke still likes us more. Well, I'm not going to let Marianne do so, no. She isn't going to talk about this ever. We didn't really tell her anything. I take in a deep breath. I have always been the matronly of Luke and I, and many have seen my dear, darling husband get angry before, but there will be repercussions if I am angered. People often forget that.
You know, I can make life very difficult for you if you speak a word of this.
At my little declaration, I am met with a stony look from the other woman.
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright.
Yeah, you don't take her nonsense, Marianne.
Won't you? How would I know? What guarantee do I have?
I have signed a document, Mrs. Wright, saying that I will honor your confidentiality as a client.
It does not speak only about the design of your home, but also about what I may hear or learn during my time here about you as my client. It's all on paper. There is no need for threats, Mrs. Wright.
I don't trust you, but I suppose that I will have to make do with that.
It's in the contract.
She says it with a tone of finality, like as if it answered every little problem. In the contract. Marriage is a contract, is it not? A contract where one spouse has responsibility and obligations towards the other. A contract wherein two people enter a monogamous relationship is overseen by the law, and in certain cases, by the church. But if that sacred contract, which has stayed through the test of time, can be broken, how am I to trust any other? The door to the parlor opens, cutting through the tension in the air like a knife.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
I give him nothing but a small
If
nod.
you dare tell anyone about what you just heard, well, I'll make sure you regret it, Annie darling.
We need Johannes and Marianne to team up and just take these two out.
Now, if you can excuse me.
Standing up and walking out, I hear no reply from her, neither do I bother to answer the questioning look the butler gives. An interview with Luxury Living. Oh, we're another day. The Wright couple moved to their newly bought mansion today and was already preparing for a housewarming party. Hannah and Marianne were seen having breakfast together, with the former complaining and accidentally delving too many details about her marital problems. That is today, isn't it? Oh yes. People had caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications, and it took longer than it usually does for us. Right now, I am not in the mood for any interview, but I have no other choice, do I? Now we gotta be mean to Zach. He doesn't deserve this. See how much we can skip. Whatever quarrel I had with Marianne, Luke, or anyone else is left forgotten as I put on a cordial face.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary
Yeah, skip it. Zach's a nice, wholesome person, and we're gonna be mean to him and harass him and flirt with him, even though we complain about Luke flirting with people. I think we do. And you're talking about his film. Being super comfortable. Yeah, everyone hates us. This is who I am, and I'm not going to tone myself down for somebody else. I have no obligation to do so. At any rate, he is rather cute, and is but fun seeing him squirm. What's the worst that can happen? I doubt it will be anything bad, considering how much of a gentleman he is.
Oh, stop doing what, Zach, sweetie?
touching my arm and looking at me like that.
He deserves better. I pause, giving him a baffled look. This is certainly the first time a man has ever complained about me being too friendly.
I'm not doing anything wrong. Come on now, don't be like that. It's just a bit of fun.
You're a married woman. A bit of harmless fun.
I'm sorry. It's just really uncomfortable and I don't think either of us want Mr. Wright to see us and think there's any funny business. I'm sorry. Look, we're finished with the interview already, aren't we? Maybe it's about time I go.
Oh, you must be joking.
No, I'm not.
You're certainly the odd one. Don't be such a killjoy. A little bit of flirting never hurt anyone. Other men would simply be delighted by my interest in them.
I have standards.
Besides, you really are such a cutie.
Well, I'm not them, Hannah. So, yeah, I'm probably odd.
I don't understand you.
Let me put it this way. You're a pretty lady, so this must have happened to you at least once or twice. How would you feel if someone was making you uncomfortable? Only for them to refuse when you ask them to stop and they make you out to be the one that's wrong?
This isn't the same as that.
It is, and he's calling her on it. As I try to argue his point, he starts to pack the rest of his bags. This is preposterous. My main argument is, what sort of man complains about a beautiful woman being friendly with them? Seems logical in my head, but the moment I try to say it, it starts to fall apart.
Yes, it is. Unwanted advances don't make me feel macho or anything like that. I'm not here to argue morals or ethics, Miss Wright. I think I have more than enough for the interview, if that's fine with you.
She was actually complaining about Chief Inspector Priest doing the same thing.
I may be starting to overstay my welcome.
I feel deflated. And things were going so smoothly, too. I ended up pushing too hard, just when I might have found myself a good friend. I'm not sure if I feel awful because I'm not getting what I want, or because I just compared to the pigs I so despise.
You're not even going to let me apologize.
You're not a bad person, Hannah. Just...
Because I really am sorry.
people won't always be how you want them to be, and apology accepted, but I really do need to go. A friend of mine is expecting me, and it's getting late.
He's such a good person. I don't want to make him a bad
Will
person
you
and kill
just
him.
again? I will be asking for copies of those photographs.
I'll mail him.
Yeah, sure. I'll make you a copy.
That would be much appreciated. I'll ask Johans to see you out.
I feel sick to my stomach as I watch Zachary leave. It is silly to be upset over a falling out with a man who was, only a few hours ago, a complete stranger to me. That doesn't excuse my boorish behavior at all, and it doesn't make the ill feeling any better. Idling about, I stare off into space, unsure of how I feel, and I stay a good while, just standing there until the sun sets in the horizon. Disheartened, I proceed back into the mansion for supper. Yeah, it talks about our interview with Zach. I wonder if it'll let us skip this. Yeah, Luke ends up being Luke is drinking absinthe. We see where we're
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for luxury living.
Yep, we're arguing. He's drinking absinthe. This is the part where I don't know what to do. Is this what gets us possessed? I don't want to do a quick time event, so I'll just say call them out. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar! Do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I am standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feelings I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me. I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me. It is only Johannes I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least, I'd like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead, before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What? Crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam, Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure proved his words to be true, too. The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There is a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? I'm just tired, that's it. A long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke, that is all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johans. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there's something wrong with this house, or there's something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. Luke's already gone. We're talking with Marianne again. Oh, now we're having a sweet, touching conversation after we threatened her? I'll just say, I don't know.
I don't know, Marianne.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while staring at my own cup of tea before she
Perhaps it
speaks.
has been the years, perhaps not. It might just be the little things that have built up all this time. It might be something big. I wouldn't know all the details, but in any case, with things like these, I've seen couples take time apart just to cool off. Sometimes they get back together in the end with lighter hearts, and sometimes they don't get back together at all, but part on better terms.
Speaking from experience, are we, Miss McCullough?
Well, that certainly got a rise out of her as her cheeks turn red and she nearly chokes on her coffee.
Oh, no. Nothing like that. I'm not interested in any fella even. It's just a thing I've seen happen a few times.
What if I said the couple are very public figures? They wouldn't want to take time apart unless it was really necessary. They wouldn't want people to talk.
Well, that's a load of guff. Not to mention that makes them a bit thick, doesn't it? Forget about what other people say. That's their relationship and they should do what's best for them.
And if they point out that you're being a hypocrite and they can also disregard what you say,
then that's their choice. I'm just saying that a break might do them good. A short time apart is better than someone trying to leg it out of the relationship or one ending up trying to murder the other out of frustration if they're even the slightest bit touched in the head. Because we don't want now, do we?
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There was a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. Yeah, we can skip this for a bit. It talks about her parents' anniversary. When did he start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? When did we start to cooperate only to suit our materialistic greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success, fame and glamour. Are those the only reasons we still stay together? There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of...
Yep, so she leaves, talking with Johannes. Now this is the party. I'd invited Father Norman too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. And here's his twin! And then there are people like the chief inspector, who's also a priest and a bartender. We know they can't be in the same place at the same time. People who I can never be too sure about. People stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy. He's harassing us. Oh, we meet Rebecca, who we used to know when she was a kid. We're cheesing her about Ash. Luke arrives late. Rochelle accuses him of being the father of her baby. Oh, we finally get a new outcome. It is now that Johannes returns with security along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the historical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never. He will never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right?
I'm so sorry for her behaviour. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk?
that's not true. Is it, Luke? Please tell me she's just lost the plot.
Don't be a blooming muppet, Hannah. Of course she's lying, creating a scandal for attention. If the baby isn't Lee's, she's probably gotten herself knocked up by one of her employees, and she's accusing me for money. Fuck! How stupid can you be?
Excuse me. I just wanted to hear your word. There's no need for such crass language.
I mean, she is pretty fair asking if it's true or not.
Yes, there is a need for such fucking crass language, because you've been nothing but a pain recently.
But to fight?
I told you not to invite her, and look what she's done. And not just recently, for a while in fact. I'm sick and tired of having to look after your clingy, spoiled ass. You've been derailing my schedule and my plans, questioning my priorities and my decisions. You could be worse than a hormonal pregnant woman at times even. How touched in the head are you that I need to hold your hand?
Speak no more. We are done here, and we'll talk about these matters in privacy now.
No, why don't we hash it all out here? Because every time we talk about our problems in private, you start crying your fucking eyes out.
For a man who cares a lot about his reputation and image. I should have expected this of Luke. To put us in the limelight, thinking I will back down because we have an audience. Well, he has another thing coming for him, doesn't he? I am just as livid as he is because of his disrespect. Our happy marriage is quickly crumbling under our own 2 feet, yet I can't give a rat's arse. If this is how it goes, so be it. Get the book.
You dare!
I dare, Buttercup, because I've kept quiet about this.
Oh, you've kept quiet about it? How rich!
His tie just changed colors.
Yes!
No, I've had enough of this!
Actually, I think his shirt changed
Do
color.
you think I don't see when you try to creep up some whore and get up her skirt? You would be nothing without me. Your company would be buried in debt and you'd be begging on the streets if it weren't for me!
She lies! Don't listen to her!
And I've had enough of you. So guess what? Fuck you, Luke.
We agreed to never talk of this woman!
Did we? I don't remember, but it's all true. Wright Enterprise would be nothing but a precautionary tale if Evans Incorporated didn't agree to merge into a conglomerate. You asked that we keep your family name because you said it was so important to you. Your legacy. I agreed because, damn it, Luke, I loved you and I still do. But all you really want is the money and the power's all gone to your head. Face it, Lucille Mitchell Wright. You owe me everything.
I owe you everything. I owe you everything? Who's running the business now while you sit at home like a pretty princess?
If I recall, you told me to retire so that I can enjoy my time as Mrs. Luke Wright.
I wouldn't even bother with other women if you were still Hannah Evans. You used to be your own woman. You used to be someone who I could fucking look up to. Now look at you. If I wanted some brainless bint, I'd go to the whorehouse and play any old strumpet like a fucking fiddle. That's all you are now. A brainless,
Punch him.
good for nothing.
Ooh. A slap echoes in the ballroom. I didn't even realize that I'd lifted my hand against him. Not until he's already clutching his reddened cheek, eyes wide, and unspoken curses hanging from his lips.
That's it! This party is over! Everybody leave before I have you all thrown out!
There is a shuffling as the near-forgotten audience can't decide whether they are to mull about and wait for what might happen next or do as instructed. Their minds are made up for them as Luke storms towards the doors, slamming them open and roars.
Go!
And as if they are awakened from a trance, the crowd starts to leave one by one. Some of the nosier ones, media and the like, tried to stay, but they were eventually dragged away by security. They slowly trickle out from the busboys and the waiters to the musicians and the bartender. Even our butler leaves us, closing the door to the ballroom shut behind him. Then and there, I didn't know what to say. Should I apologize for striking him? Yet every part of me is still shaking in anger. I want to scream every bit of hatred I have for him, every ounce of bitterness, things that I couldn't say before, but I also feel tired.
Oh, Hannah! What am I going to do with you?
He laughs. Before I can respond, he leaves. To where? I don't know. I'll never find out as I don't have the courage to follow him or leave this room. Slumping to the nearest chair, all I can see is his face, red and wide-eyed. His empty laugh echoes over and over again. Only the walls act as my audience now, and I can feel their accusing eyes burn into me. There will be no sleep tonight. And come morning, as we breakfast, the meal is silent and strained. Picture of us slapping him. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, Hannah and Luke lash out at each other in public. Hannah slapped Luke at the end of it all, and in the resulting fit of rage, the men ordered the party to be stopped and threw their guests out. I cut too deeply into my sausages and almost excused myself. Have I not spied Luke mashing and stirring his poached eggs with a fork like a petulant child? Conversation is terse, but that is no big surprise. What else can you say after you verbally lashed out at each other in public? Apologies seem like trifle things now in comparison to what transpired last night. I'm not the one to rush you in eating, but withdrawing sounds like the best course of action. I can leave the dining hall, hole myself up somewhere where I won't be bothered. And he has work today. I almost have gotten away with it too if he did not speak up all of a sudden.
Hannah, wait! Don't go just yet. Please.
What is it, Lucille?
I have thought upon it, that perhaps I am at fault for what happened yesterday, and for your frustrations. I have been a neglectful husband, and if you would still have me, I hope to correct that. There's not much to do today for me, and I was hoping that we might be able to talk it out. If you are willing to still work it out with me, you will have my afternoon.
Just your afternoon?
He stands and approaches with steps, careful and wary. He treats me as if I'll take flight at any moment, and it'll be ridiculous if I don't find even a tiny bit endearing. And when he stands before me, he takes both my hands in his, ready with a declaration.
You will have my afternoon, and every moment after, for the rest of your life, if you are willing.
I hate it. I hate how he can easily make me fall in love with him all over again.
Just this one chance. If you don't show up, I may very well just pack my bags and go, you hear me?
Loud and clear. Off to work I go then. Until later.
Buttercup.
His grip is tight as he kisses my hand before letting it fall. I feel lighter in spite of it all. That leaves me the rest of the day with nothing, really. I thought I'll have to spend it making plans to leave this house and him, but instead he has me worrying and feeling relieved at the same time. It is quite paradoxical. I still have plans to eschew everything and everyone until the afternoon, which has proven to be quite difficult as everywhere I look, Johannes seems to appear out of thin air. I love our butler along with his wonderful husband and 2 darling children. His children! But he never seems to understand the concept of privacy or personal space at the worst times. The man is often quiet even while he works, and I can forget he's there with no trouble. It's the principle of things, however.
What are you doing?
He's told me to look after you. This isn't going to turn out well, you know.
Pardon?
You should just leave. If I were you, I'd left a long time ago. You have the choice to do so, you know. Not everyone does.
Is that what you've been stalking me all morning for? To tell me to leave my husband?
Poor Johannes, he's not a terrible guy. He's just trying to protect his family.
It is not going to turn out well, meine Freundin.
Looking back at Johannes, I see his usually indifferent expression painted with concern. He still stands tall and his body betrays no emotion. But his mouth is set into a grim, harsh line, and there's a slight furrow in his brow. Curious and minute details that one won't find unless they cared to look. And these little things trouble me. Still, if he believes that I will leave when Luke has extended an olive branch to me, well, he's wrong.
And that's your opinion, Johannes. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to be left alone with my thoughts, please.
If you'd like privacy, I suggest finding it somewhere else then. Somewhere outside the house, maybe?
I'm going to my room. Tell Luke that I'll be waiting for him there.
I'd really rather not.
That's an order, Johannes.
He's such a good man to try to help us. The remaining hours pass with little fanfare as my wish to be alone is respected. I only see Johannes again when he brings me my supper. Will you pass along with squid ink brioche? That's a weird looking thing. Something that I haven't requested, but I'm grateful nonetheless. And once more after that to clear my plates away and inform me that Luke is back home.
I'm home.
Hearing him call for me fills me with a certain dread for reasons I can't comprehend. Perhaps I'm just nervous about this little talk of ours. It's something at the back of my head is nagging at me. It's irrational, but I feel myself freeze in trepidation. I have to will myself to breathe when I am conscious of the fact that I've been holding it in.
Darling, love, Buttercup, why aren't you answering?
Seriously, this mansion has such paper-thin walls. It is with unease that I answer.
Upstairs, Luke!
There is a moment when I'm nothing but a bundle of nerves. His footsteps echo from the hallway, and the creak of the door sends chills down my spine.
Here I am expecting a warm welcome home, and here you are locked up in the room like a shut-in. Oh, Hannah, what am I to do with you? You're looking a little bit pale. Are you all right?
I must have had something funny, actually. Maybe from the party last night. Maybe breakfast. Or lunch.
Is it the bouillabaisse or the brioche?
Johannes had been acting really strangely while you were gone. Do you think?
Do I think what? That he poisoned you? Don't be silly. He wouldn't do such a thing unless I tell him to.
He jokes and laughs. That does nothing to ease my nausea and only makes my stomach churn even more. I try to smile and laugh along, but I cannot put on a fake face this time. This is concerning. Noticing my discomfort, he pulls me into his arms. In his hold, I feel safe. Or I should be, at least. But there is still a stirring restlessness inside me.
Don't you worry. If you are sick, I'll take care of you myself. I did tell you that you'll have my afternoon and every moment after for as long as you live, didn't I?
I feel like they should have shown the knife after this.
I am just so worried about my poor wifey. That Rochelle woman had some nerve. And I've insulted your honor so. My poor wifey has been through so much.
It is when I feel his hold turn painfully tight that the dread turns into fear.
My poor, spoiled wifey, Hannah fucking Evans. Silver spoon in her mouth, never had to lift a finger in her goddamn life. Poor wifey trying to ruin everything for me. All that I've worked so hard for. She'll just take it all away. Just like that. We've got to fix that. You know. You and I, we have to make sure you don't pull a dodgy stunt like the one you did last night, even if we have to take you out of the picture permanently.
It is as he presses something sharp to my back that I realize far too late what he holds in his hands.
Why are you doing this?
My life is in his hands, held hostage at a knife's edge.
Because, Hannah, darling, it's never enough.
That's a new picture.
I want it all.
And he wishes to end it. Does he not love me anymore? Has our ties eroded so badly that he'll even go this far? This is preposterously surreal. Yet here I am, frozen in his embrace while he holds a knife to my back. The very man I loved and trusted the most is the one to kill me. And sadly enough, this is the longest he's held me in a long while. It is a contradiction, both beautiful and horrific. How did it come to this?
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me?
That makes him pause.
Oh, I still do, Hana. I do love you, but you're outliving your usefulness. In fact, you're becoming a pain in the arse, just like your dear old dad. Now I'm doing you a favor, and you'll be with him again.
Real soon.
Dignity and grace is forgotten as I become a blubbering mess begging to be spared. Please spill from my lips prayers to Luke for his mercy because please, I don't want to go. I'm not ready to go. I still want a family, our family, and I want to do more. I can't help but cry about the things that could have, should have been, a husband, children, and a home. But I am going to be cut short. My pleading falls on deaf ears. And although I don't feel it immediately, the way he loosens his hold on me says as much. There is no pain at first, only shock until dull throbbing radiates from my back. It's like an itch that I can't reach, which gets worse and worse until it's all I can focus on. I panic as the pain becomes too much to bear, and I wish nothing else but for death to consume me now. My body spasms, trembling and shaking, and the pain fires up anew when Luke, the monster, twists the knife deeper. Breathing is next to impossible. Every time I try, it only feels like I'm drowning. Soon enough, I taste blood on my tongue like copper, yet both salty and sweet. And here I am, laughing like a bloody loon, though my laughter is nothing more but a wet, raspy chuckle. Slowly, I am losing
What's so
myself.
funny?
Deeper and deeper yet. He starts laughing.
We would have been so cute.
I drown in his laughter. Journal update. Excuse me in the middle of dying, I have to read my journal. Before leaving for work, Luke begged his wife for another chance and promised she'd have his time for the rest of her life. Hearing this, Hana was smitten all over again, yet Johannes was seen trailing the lady throughout the day, which made Hana very uncomfortable, and when Luke finally returned home, he made us some nice jam. We've unlocked a memory fragment. So there's a skip past that one. So, it was Charlotte hooking up with a dude that was definitely not her fiance, and the maid saw. That was a really visual thing we saw there. I don't know why they'd show us something like that after such a horrifying murder. I don't know how to feel about Luke murdering Hana. Like, I feel bad for Hana, and Luke is not a perfect guy. Like, I think they're both in the wrong. They were both being horrible. So, Zachary's having a nightmare about his parents being killed in a hate crime. Yeah, we're getting a phone call. First few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes adjust to the light streaming into the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings me, my shirt is clinging tightly to me and my blanket is a tangled mess around my throat. It's one of those nights again when sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun is yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Answer your phone! Ordinarily, before waking up, my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of my bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped, even as I fish the phone out, and Ash's name flashes briefly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call.
Where are you?
I'd imagine this has to be either about Isabella or about Hana.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. What do you need?
Get your ass here, pronto.
Here? Hold on. Can this wait until I'm actually awake?
No, Rebecca's not in a good state, and...
His voice hitches and I fail to catch the last of what he's saying over the sudden racket on the other side of the line. When the noise dies down, however, he does not continue. This abrupt change in his tone, the unexpected hesitance to speak puts me on edge, and a different kind of anxiety clings to me. Something's wrong.
Here is where, Ash?
Apartment. Rebecca's. And Isabella's. Just get here, please.
He drops the call before I can ask more. Maybe it's just me or my sleep-addled brain, but in that short moment, he sounds like almost as if he's pleading. The thought alone does not ease the lump of dread gripping my insides already heavy with fear. But despite the questions currently swimming inside my head, I waste no time in getting dressed, the rest of the day's plans and scheduled meetings effectively for whatever lies ahead. I hope this ain't one of those times when my intuition is right. Some creepy music. The murmurs of the small crowd miling on the streets are loud against my ears. A contrast to the sleepy, laid-back reputation of this neighborhood is built through the years. Despite sitting close to downtown Luxburn, Salem Well Quarter never did quite attract the loud crowd common to the city. Isabella mentioned once or twice how quiet bothered her in the first few years here. She's grown so used to the routine clangor of the slums in her hometown it has become the closest she has to a lullaby. She never did quite adjust to the kind of mom Salem had. Yet now I highly doubt she'd like this kind of commotion either, in her own apartment complex no less. Moreover, where is Rebecca in all this? I was hoping either one of them would be able to give me an explanation, but a number of police cars and an ambulance are parked along the street closest to the compound. Given Ashton's tone over the phone, I already half expected their presence here. What's a little surprising are the news vans lined up on the road opposite.
What in the blazes is the press doing here?
The cold stone at the pit of my stomach grows more unwelcoming with each step I take, bringing a sour taste in my mouth. A handful of the curious has flocked near the building, probably waiting for something interesting to happen. Carefully, I weave my way through the thin crowd, only to be halted soon by perimeter tape enclosing the 3-story apartment. What if you live here? My eyes darting around the busy landing on the other side. It buzzes with activity as several officers move in and out of the building, most of them in white suits stained with hems and gloves that a striking shade of red. I try to think where those came from, but an idea has already planted itself firmly in my head long before I can stop myself. Ash must be in there somewhere. This is that kind of case. I wait, and after what seems like a lifetime, he emerges from the building, his own gloves smeared with the same red shade the others had on theirs, and exhaustion evident on his face. Briefly, he scans the area, but quickly averts his gaze when he catches my eye. Without so much as a wave or acknowledgement, he starts to walk off in the opposite direction while reading off the papers he has on hand with complete focus. I get that he's busy, but that's on a whole different level of weird. Not 3 steps later, though, he seems to think better of it. He pauses before wheeling around and walking back towards me. His kind of hesitance, while not have heard from him, is only enough to feel the sick dread clawing at my insides. He doesn't meet my eyes when he speaks either.
Sorry you had to be greeted by this.
You say that like this is something new to me. Come on, dude, after all these years, every time I see your name on the caller ID, I'm already half expecting something shitty went down again somewhere.
An expression both pained and weary crosses his face momentarily, before hiding back under his usual mask of indifference. The rest of my laughter dies from my lips, replaced by a sound devoid of any mirth. Try as I might to keep the talk light, the thick atmosphere has become stifling at some point. I've always known how taxing his work and the police force has become since his promotion. Seen it with my own eyes, as a matter of fact. But right now, have things really gotten this bad for him lately?
Can't say the side of forensics is a pleasant thing to see in the morning. Anyway, where's Rebecca? You mentioned she's not in a good state. And then, we have this. Please don't tell me she's somehow gotten herself in.
Nothing's happened to her. They're just getting her statement. They should let her go soon.
He ushers with his head towards an ambulance parked a short distance from us. Her strikingly familiar hair is visible between the 2 officers standing nearby. Although I can't see her face, the tired droop on her shoulders is impossible to miss. Still, to see her unharmed is relief enough.
Glad to hear that. What's going on here anyway? Seems like you've got yourself another big case on your plate this time.
Just not even asking about Isabella.
It's been classified as a homicide, but nothing conclusive yet.
A homicide? Another? Right here? Figures why the press is here. No, I don't think any of the 2 girls will appreciate you bringing the whole precinct here.
That was a weirdly worded statement.
Bella especially. Never did quite forgive Devlin, no matter how much she laughs about him now.
Isabella's...
Is that the couch thing again?
Isabella's not here. Zach.
A flicker of grief. Momentary in its passing, but it's there across his face at the mention of her. And in that single lapse, the stone on my stomach has firmly lodged itself up in my throat.
Ash, what's really going on here?
A hunch, that's all it is. If there's anything I've learned from him all these years, it's that asking the hardest questions are unavoidable if you want to get answers. Not in a world as harsh as ours.
Ashton, I asked you a question. Where is Isabella?
When he looks at me, I already know the answer. God damn, I already know it, but I want to hear it straight from him.
She's dead.
2 words. None of it registers.
Dude, you know full well I find jokes like that in bad taste. If you need me curious about this, you got it done way before that came out of your mouth. Now answer the question properly.
I already did. What else do you want me to tell you?
The truth! Stop shitting with me and tell me what this is all about! God help me if no one tells me what's going on. I'll swear
I don't have time for this, Zach. I've got a lot of stuff waiting to be dealt with right now.
Don't be like that, Ash.
I need you to make yourself useful and stay with Rebecca after they're done with her.
Let me through.
My hand's already on the tape, poised to raise it, but he's quick to move in front of the bar to stop me from crossing into the other side. It only starts to raise the ire bubbling in me. The tone he takes doesn't help either.
I can't let you do that. This place is off limits until the investigation's over.
It wasn't a request. Let me through.
I hope we get through
What
and
could
see
you
what happens.
possibly want to?
You said she's dead! I want to see it with my own eyes, Ash! I'm not buying any of your bullshit until I've seen it with my own eyes! Move aside!
Or what? You'll break the tape? March in there like some criminal above the law?
I ain't afraid of no tape.
Because I'm telling you that's what you'll be once you do. And I won't be able to keep you out of trouble this time.
no matter how innocent you are!
That doesn't actually sound believable. Like, I gotta believe a case of a loved one being like, no, they can't be dead, and rushing in to see for themselves. That's probably happened.
Screw the rules! That is my friend in there! Just the other day I was talking with her. How can she be dead right now? How sure are you that she is? All I'm asking is proof, goddammit!
It's not that simple! We're following a protocol here, and friend or not, you have to stay in line while forensics finishes documenting the victim's body and every fucking thing in the goddamn scene. Now back off, sit down, and let us do our work.
Don't make this harder for us, Zach.
What? You make it sound like you don't even know her. Ain't she your friend too?
It's not that. You don't understand. Right now, she's nothing but a dead body.
Wow.
We need to...
All I saw was red. Yeah, you get him, Zach! Avenge my honor! My anger subsided just as quickly as it erupted. The next thing I know, he's on the ground, nursing a bloody lip and a bruised cheek with an unreadable expression in his eyes. My fist falls to my side, limp and forgotten. The papers and photos he's been holding on to all this time flutter uselessly to the floor around us, as if to mock me. His rage would have been better, far easier to deal with than the wall he suddenly built up around himself. With it, there's only hurtful words and ugly truths, no puzzling guessing games that leave you thinking for days on end. I shouldn't have let my temper get the better of me either. I want to apologize, say something to remedy the situation, but my mouth has gone thick with fear and remorse all at once. I can only look at my feet, no longer standing close to the boundary I threatened to cross earlier. And that is when I see it. Understanding dawns on me, violent enough to shake me. With trembling hands, I reach for the scattered photographs off the pavement. Oh, jeez! I'm sorry, Isabella. A sick, burning feeling immediately rises up to my throat. Purely on instinct, my eyes move in every corner of the print, searching for any sign of tampering, for any discrepancy, for any hope that this might just be an awful prank. Man, how did she die? Like, look like she got like a stomach burst. But try as I might, I can't find it. Ripped apart. There's no other word for it. She barely looks like herself. In fact, I wouldn't have known it's her if Ashton hadn't mentioned something earlier. When I think of her, all I see is this person who has rarely ever lost the cheer in her voice. Often upbeat, rarely dispirited. Now she's nothing more than a mangled mess of blood, flesh, and splintered bones. Her head is bent backwards, the eyes and mouth open in a silent, empty scream. The hole in her torso, big enough to expose her insides, gapes open at me. It's all as if a savage beast has torn it viciously open and feasted on it, every organ mutilated and butchered beyond all recognition. Blood pools from the open wound, drenching her and the floor a deep shade of red. I can smell and taste it without even being here. When I finally look back at him, Ashton's shoulders have gone rigid. His eyebrows are drawn in a tight frown. His jaws are clenched tight. I recognize the frustration, his frustration for what it is. It's not that Ash doesn't want me to see her. He simply doesn't want her to be seen in this state. This ain't how he wants her to be remembered. I struggle to find the words, anything to fix this god-awful misunderstanding. This ain't what we should be doing right now. But he only looks away as he pushes himself off the ground.
Ash, I don't know what came over me.
I won't be pressing assault charges considering the situation.
Seriously?
I've got things to check with the other officers, but don't go thinking you can easily cross this line without me here. The other police types won't be as forgiving.
Ash being so cold.
Go check on Rebecca. She's probably the one who took it the hardest.
I hope Rebecca didn't see her body. And we got a journal. We're not gonna have a cute drawing of her body, are we? That'd be weird. Zachary received an alarming phone call from Ashton, pleading him to go to Salem Well Residences immediately. Upon arrival, Ashton bluntly informed him of Isabella's death. Frustrated over the news and Ashton's seemingly different attitude, Zach punched him. Without another word, Zach gathers the papers littering the ground, ducks under the perimeter tape, and walks away without so much as a backward glance. He doesn't even remember that the photos are still in my hand. In hindsight, I could follow him. I should follow him. Return these to him, apologize, and maybe attempt a decent conversation without butting our heads or getting into a trivial squabble over this, of all things. But he's right, damn it. He's right in that we're not the only two people going through this. And right now, Rebecca has to bear losing a friend all on her own. Who should I be with? We can't comfort people, it's against the law. This is the renegade run. I don't think we can follow Ashton. Ugh. I don't want to plus him. Yeah. I'm gonna reload and go after Rebecca then. Because I want to see how Rebecca's doing. That's a huge plus. It's ruining my attempt to be not friends with everybody. Apologies can wait. At the moment, Rebecca needs someone by her side. When I find her again, the officers who took her statement are long gone. She has not moved an inch from the seat the paramedics have offered her, and a distant look has taken over her face, the usual fierceness in her gaze missing. Like a fire that flickered out of existence. There are no tears, just hollowness and sorrow. She offers me a weak smile when she sees me approach, but nothing else other than that. I try to say something, my mouth opening and closing in hesitation. finding words that will hopefully offer the least bit of comfort if not sympathy. But all of them falls flat in the face of her own grief. Rat's still holding the photos. The only thing I can give her is my company, to sit beside her and help her bear this with as much strength as I can lend. Around us, the crowd slowly begins to thin out, most having already lost interest in the commotion that entails the discovery of a crime scene. A few do linger, just reporters finishing things up for the news and waiting for some final words from the authorities. This incident is not yet all over the news this morning. It will be soon.
If she were here, she'd probably be scared out of her wits by now.
Words choke in her throat, her mouth closing off at the last one as if to stop a sob from escaping her. I don't need to ask who her is.
She'll likely be out of here faster than you can say ghost to her. Probably rent a new apartment on the other side of the city as soon as possible. For good measure.
She would. She never did like it here.
Did she say that?
No, not directly. Never directly. She'll complain about me being bossy or Ash being annoying, but she would never say a word about that. The rent here is cheap. She prefers it that way. It just means she'll be able to send more home. Personal comforts be damned. For her family.
I feel bad for her family, because they're going to lose the dad, too.
Always for her family.
Rebecca draws in a breath, long and shaky. Her voice falters for a brief second.
They always came first for her. She's, 26? She doesn't even know how to take care of herself. It's impossible not to worry, you know? And she's always like that, and...
She clenches her eyes shut and heaves in, her shoulders shaking with heavy, silent sobs. And as tears begin to slide down her cheeks, it hits me that I've never seen her cry like this before. Always the strong, reliable one, ever the proud, fiery woman. Yet she's none of those as I draw her in and wrap my arms around her shoulders. She's simply another who has lost someone.
I don't really know what to say. Never been good with this, but I'm here, Rebecca.
Minutes pass before the rest of her cry subside, and by the time the grief has temporarily eased, my shoulders already damp with her tears. She offers me an apologetic smile she pulls away, which I return in kind.
Didn't mean for you to see me like that. It's just that I was with her on the phone yesterday. Before this, we had a fight. If I had known that would be the last time, I don't know. Maybe I should have been more careful with my words.
Hey, it's okay. You don't have to say anything now. And it's not your fault. Never your fault. Understood?
No, Zachary, I was just talking to her. She was alive, and I shouted at her. I should have at least heard her out, given her the chance. She was so worried about everyone that something might happen to us.
She trails off. The rest of what she's saying becomes lost on her tongue. Her eyes are wide when she looks back at me, one trembling hand cups over her mouth, and the other reaches out to grip my arm with strength I had not known she possessed until now.
Zach, she was warning me. She said we might be in danger. Remember Rose Cooper, her co-worker, on the news? You've heard it, right? She was saying something about her and the letter she got from that mansion.
Is help me written all over the walls?
Whoa, wait there, Rebecca. That's a huge jump in logic right there. And a little bit too much to take in at once, frankly.
I know that. If nothing happened, I wouldn't have given it much thought. But as it is, what if she was right all along? What if that letter she found really has something to do with this?
Now you believe me.
The same thing was written in her room, with her own blood and...
And nothing. I expected to hear a better argument from you, Rebecca.
Ashton is gonna make everyone hate him. Ashton is the new Hana. We look up to find Ashton marching towards us, his strides quick and decisive. The expression on his face, however, there are really no other words for it. He looks pissed as hell. And if he was the kind of person, I'd wager he'd good money that the next one who annoys him will end up injured in some capacity.
And before you ask, the stupid letter's with forensics now, along with the other evidence. Don't waste your time looking for it.
Oh great, all forensics is
The whole
due.
case is a train wreck as it is.
What would you have me do then? We don't know who did this. Whoever or whatever murdered our friend is still out there.
You think I don't know that? I'll get him, I promise. I'll get him, put him behind bars, and make him pay. But please don't go around playing cop. We aren't playing a children's game.
I have no intention to. Don't you think we also want the same thing as badly as you do?
His mouth opens, poised to say something, but wavers in the end. He averts his eyes. Maybe it's just me, but for fleeting seconds, something close to regret flicks in them.
You don't know the half of it.
What on earth do you mean by...
All right, guys. That's enough. Proper time and place, remember? We ain't getting anywhere like this.
Sorry, you two. I think I need some air. I'll step out for a while.
We're outside.
Just forget I mentioned anything, Zachary.
It's probably the exhaustion talking.
She's already walking away before the two of us can react. Although with how our previous exchange went down, I highly doubt chasing after her will do us both good. An awkward second stretches out between Ash and I until I remember that the photographers are still with me. They continue to weigh more than they actually do in my hands. I try not to look at them again when I hand it back to him. Once is
You
enough.
left this with me back there.
Recognition slips across the features before he walks over and takes them off my hands without so much as a thanks. Neither of us speak while he clips all of it back to his file. What else is there to talk about? A jest would be too inappropriate given the gravity of the situation. An apology right now, despite my intent when I sought him out, will be too early, too easy, too hasty. Not with our minds still reeling from the news. Not with all of us still finding ways to cope with our own grief. And this is how he does it, with feigned indifference and an air of aloof detachment. I can't fault him for
What's
that.
next after this, Ash?
Can't say, but make sure you stay far away from the rights. We've got enough problems as it is. I don't need another one adding more to it.
Ooh. Wait, brakes, Ash, brakes. What about those things on the wall? Maybe she's right. Maybe it has something to do with what she's been telling us all this time. You saw the contents of the paper. What if it's...
Don't go thinking that the stupid letter is related or even a clue. This has more to it than some curse, damn it. I should have paid more attention. If I knew this would lead to this, I have to go. I'll leave Rebecca to you.
And as I watch him walk away, a different kind of worry weaves itself into me. Ash can handle himself. He's proven that time and time again. But the way he carries himself at the moment, his frustration, perhaps even anger, now seeping into his every word. Years ago, early in our acquaintance, he said keeping a cool head is a priority in his line of work. Letting things get too personal should be the last thing that should happen in any case he's handling. I believed him then. Now, with everything as they are, I hope he remembered those words for himself. Journal. Despite feeling sorry for his actions, Zachary decided to comfort a grieving Rebecca. She blamed the letter for their friend's death. Overhearing this, Ashton stepped in, pointing out how illogical she was being. Despite the tension, a promise to catch whoever did this was given afterwards. So we're gonna end this part here. This was a traumatizing episode. Luke brutally murdered Hannah, and we saw Isabella's horribly mutilated body. So, good luck sleeping tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave a comment. Bye!